Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High, by Kerry Patterson, Joseph Grenny, Ron McMillan, and Al Switzler. Picture this: a boardroom thick with tension. 8 vice presidents sit across from their CEO, Chris, wrestling with a multi-million-dollar decision that'll ripple through thousands of lives. Where should they move the company headquarters? 2 executives have already made their pitch. The room dissected both proposals with surgical precision. Then Chris speaks up. The CEO pitches his own idea, moving to his hometown. The room goes quiet. It's clearly unpopular, possibly even disastrous. But when his team pushes back, something shifts. Chris's eyebrow arches. His tone sharpens just a touch. His authority floods the room like invisible fog. One by one, the vice presidents fall silent. Everyone knows this decision is a mistake. They can feel themselves being steamrolled. But the choice seems impossible. Speak up and make a powerful enemy, or stay quiet and watch the company drive off a cliff. Your career or your conscience. Pick one. In that suffocating silence, one man takes a breath. Kevin, a vice president, leans forward. The room freezes. "Hey, Chris," he says calmly, "can I check something out with you?" What happens next is remarkable. For several minutes, Kevin does the seemingly impossible. He tells the CEO, right there in front of everyone, that he's using his power to force through a bad decision. No accusation, no anger. Just complete honesty wrapped in profound respect. The room holds its breath. Chris sits quietly for a long moment. Then he nods. "You're absolutely right," he says. "I've been trying to force my opinion on you. Let's back up and try again." That single conversation didn't just change the company's trajectory. It revealed something the authors had spent years searching for. After studying over 20,000 influential people in business and society, they'd been hunting for the secret ingredient. And there it was, playing out in real time. It wasn't charisma, intelligence, or power. It was the ability to navigate moments exactly like this one. This book has sold millions of copies and transformed organizations from hospitals to nuclear power plants. It's not just about communication. It's about those defining moments that shape careers, relationships, and entire lives. Here's what I can promise you. By the end of our time together, you'll understand the simple but powerful framework that people like Kevin use to navigate life's toughest conversations. You'll learn how to be 100% honest and 100% respectful at the same time, so you never again have to choose between telling the truth and keeping a friend. Have you ever walked away from a conversation replaying it endlessly in your mind? Why did I say that? Or worse, why didn't I say anything at all? We've all been there. A discussion with a parent about your future. A talk with your partner about something that's been gnawing at you. A disagreement with your boss about a project. Everything starts fine, but then something shifts. The stakes climb. Opinions clash. Emotions surge. Suddenly, you're not just talking anymore. You're in a crucial conversation. Here's the great tragic irony. The more crucial the conversation, the worse we handle it. When it matters most, we're often at our absolute worst. Why? The authors explain it's because we're not designed for this. When we feel threatened, adrenaline floods our system. Our brain literally diverts blood away from the parts responsible for rational thought and sends it to our arms and legs. We're biologically wired for fight or flight, for fists and feet, not intelligent persuasion. We end up facing a complex social situation with the brain of a cornered animal. This leads to what the authors call the fool's choice. We convince ourselves we're stuck between 2 terrible options. Option 1, speak the truth and shatter a relationship. Option 2, Stay silent and keep the peace while the problem festers. Tell your friend his business idea is terrible and he'll hate you. Say nothing and watch him lose his life savings. Tell your partner their habit drives you crazy and start a huge fight. Say nothing and let resentment build into a wall between you. We learn this choice young. Grandma serves her famous broccoli pie and asks, "Do you like it?" What she's really asking is, "Do you like me?" When you answer honestly and see the hurt flash across her face, you make a vow. From now on, I'll choose between being kind and being honest. But the most effective people, the leaders, parents, and partners who build lives of trust and success, they know a secret. The fool's choice is a myth. They've discovered a third path that allows them to be both honest and respectful. This path is called dialogue. Dialogue isn't just talking. It's the free flow of meaning between two or more people. Imagine all the ideas, opinions, and feelings in a conversation forming a pool between you, the pool of shared meaning. Each person arrives with their own private knowledge and experiences. When the conversation feels safe, we freely add our meaning to the pool. The pool expands, gets deeper and clearer. With access to more accurate, relevant information, we make far better decisions. This shared pool is where synergy is born. The whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. But when we feel unsafe, we do one of two things. We slip into silence, withholding our meaning from the pool. This looks like masking through sarcasm or sugarcoating, avoiding by changing the subject, or withdrawing by leaving the conversation entirely. Or we resort to violence, trying to force our meaning into the pool through controlling behaviors like cutting people off, labeling people or ideas with stereotypes, or attacking with personal threats. Every time we play these games, it's because we've lost our way. We've forgotten the goal, reaching mutual understanding and creating the best possible outcome. The rest of this journey explores 7 core skills that help you stay on that path, creating dialogue even when everything inside screams to fight or flee. The first, most important principle is this: work on me first. You can't change other people. You can't force them into dialogue. The only person you can inspire, prod, and shape is the one staring back at you in the mirror. The journey to a better conversation always begins with you. This brings us to the first skill. Start with heart. Before a crucial conversation even begins, or the moment you feel it going south, ask yourself one simple but profound question: what do I really want? Think about it. In the heat of the moment, our motives shift without us realizing it. We start wanting to solve a problem with our spouse, but 2 minutes in, all we want is to win the argument. We begin wanting to give helpful feedback to a coworker, but as soon as they get defensive, our goal morphs into proving them wrong, or even making them feel bad. We lose sight of long-term goals for short-term gratification. The authors share a powerful story about Greta, a CEO leading a cost-cutting campaign. In a big meeting, a nervous manager stood up and pointed out that while Greta was asking everyone to use both sides of their paper, she was having a lavish new office built. The room went silent. Greta felt attacked, her face flushed, her first instinct screaming to strike back and put this manager in his place. Her motive had instantly shifted from cutting costs to punishing the dissenter. But then, in that split second, she asked herself, what do I really want here? She realized her true goal wasn't winning this ego battle. It was getting 200 managers to buy into her cost-saving initiative. The biggest barrier? The perception that she was a hypocrite. This man who spoke up wasn't an enemy. He was her greatest ally, handing her the chance to address the biggest unspoken concern in the room. Her entire demeanor changed. She thanked him for his courage, admitted the hypocrisy, and transparently addressed the issue. In that moment, she moved from potential disaster to profound leadership. When you feel yourself slipping into silence or violence, stop. Ask yourself, what do I really want for myself, for the other person, for the relationship? Then follow with one more question. How would I behave if this is what I really wanted? This simple act of refocusing your heart isn't just psychological, it's physiological. It shifts your brain from its primitive, reactive state to its higher-level, problem-solving state. It allows you to refuse the fool's choice. Instead of asking, should I be honest or kind, you start asking a smarter question. How can I be honest and kind? How can I share my concerns and preserve our friendship? How can I talk to my boss about this and still be seen as loyal? That's the foundation, but having the right motive isn't enough. You also need to see what's happening in real time. This is the second principle. Learn to look. Skilled communicators are like experienced fishermen. A novice sees only water. The expert spots the subtle ripple, the shadow beneath the surface, the exact spot where the fish is hiding. In crucial conversations, most of us only see the content, the words being said. But experts are dual processing, tracking two things at once, the content and the conditions. The most important condition to watch for is safety. Dialogue dies the moment people feel unsafe. If you can spot when safety's at risk, you can fix it before damage is done. The authors make a radical claim. People almost never become defensive because of what you're saying. They become defensive because they don't feel safe. They suspect you have malicious intent or that you don't respect them. The problem isn't your message's content, it's the conversation's condition. So what do you look for? The early warning signs of silence and violence. Is someone using sarcasm? That's masking. Changing the subject? That's avoiding. Speaking in absolutes or cutting you off? That's controlling. These aren't just annoying behaviors. They're bright, flashing signs that safety is at risk. Here's the hardest part. You have to watch your own behavior too. We're often the last to know when we've slipped into a destructive pattern. We raise our voice and shout, "I'm not angry," completely oblivious to the vein bulging on our forehead. To improve, you need to become a vigilant self-monitor. Ask yourself, what's my role in this? Am I falling into my own style under stress? Once you've learned to see that safety is at risk, you need to know what to do about it. That's the third principle, make it safe. When you see a conversation turning crucial and safety disappearing, you have to do something counterintuitive. Step out of the content of the argument, restore safety, then step back in. There are two critical conditions for safety: mutual purpose and mutual respect. Mutual purpose is the entrance condition. Do others believe you care about their goals in this conversation? Do they trust your motives? If they think you're there to win, push your agenda, or make them look bad, you'll never have dialogue. You need to find a shared goal. Mutual respect is the continuance condition. As long as it's there, you don't notice it. But the moment it's gone, it's all anyone can think about. Respect is like air. If people feel disrespected, the conversation is no longer about the original topic. It's about defending their dignity. So what do you do when one of these is violated? The authors give us 3 powerful tools. First, if you've done something to hurt or disrespect the other person, apologize. A sincere apology isn't about admitting you were wrong about the issue. It's about expressing sorrow for the pain you've caused. It's about sacrificing your ego to rebuild connection. Second, if others have misunderstood your intent, use contrasting. This is a brilliant don't/do statement. You first address the misunderstanding, then clarify your real intent. Imagine you're giving feedback to your assistant about being late. He looks crushed, thinking you're about to fire him. You could say, "I don't want you to think I'm dissatisfied with your work overall. I think you're a huge asset to the team. I do want to talk about this punctuality issue because it's important for our team's workflow." Contrasting isn't apologizing. It's not watering down your message. It's providing context so your message can be heard without defensiveness. Third, what if you're truly at cross purposes? What if you and your spouse have completely different ideas about a major life decision? You need to create a mutual purpose. The authors give us an acronym, CRIB. Commit to seek mutual purpose. Verbally commit to finding a solution that works for both of you. It seems like we're both trying to force our views. I commit to staying in this until we find something we're both happy with. Recognize the purpose behind the strategy. Ask, why do you want that? Separate their position from their underlying interest. You want to move to the city as a position. You want to be closer to cultural events and have a shorter commute is the interest. Once you understand the why, you can find new solutions. Invent a mutual purpose. If you still can't find a shared goal, move to a higher, more encompassing one. You might disagree on whether to take the promotion, but you can both agree that the family's well-being matters most. Brainstorm new strategies. Once you have a shared purpose, you can work together to find options that meet everyone's needs. These skills, starting with heart, learning to look, and making it safe, prepare the ground for dialogue. But we haven't talked about what's happening inside our own heads in moments when we feel angry, scared, or hurt. This leads to the fourth principle: master my stories. The authors make another bold claim. Others don't make you mad. You make you mad. Emotions aren't foisted upon you like a bad cold. You, and only you, create your own emotions. How? Through the stories you tell yourself. Between someone's action and your feeling, there's a cognitive step. You see something, tell yourself a story about it, then feel an emotion based on that story. This is called the path to action. You see and hear something, tell a story about it, feel an emotion, then act on that emotion. Your friend walks past without saying hello. That's a fact. You could tell yourself, "He's mad at me." That story creates hurt or anger. You act by giving him the cold shoulder later. Or, you could tell a different story. "He must have something heavy on his mind." That story creates concern, and you might check in on him. The same fact can lead to infinite stories. And these stories happen in a flash, so quickly we don't realize we're doing it. The key to controlling our emotions is taking back control of our stories. The problem is, under stress, we tell ourselves what the authors call clever stories. These stories are clever because they justify our behavior and get us off the hook. There are three main types. Victim stories. It's not my fault. We cast ourselves as innocent sufferers, exaggerating our innocence and ignoring the role we played in the problem. Villain stories. It's all your fault. We turn the other person into a one-dimensional bad guy, attributing the worst possible motives to them. This justifies our anger and aggression. We see their actions but invent their intent. Helpless stories. There's nothing else I can do. We convince ourselves there are no healthy options, justifying our move to silence or violence. I had to yell, otherwise he wouldn't listen. So how do you break free from these clever stories? Tell the rest of the story by asking a few simple questions. To challenge a victim story, ask, "What role am I playing in this problem?" This turns you from victim into actor. To challenge a villain story, ask, "Why would a reasonable, rational, decent person do this?" This humanizes the other person and softens your judgment. To challenge a helpless story, ask, "What do I really want, and what could I do right now to move toward that?" This turns you from helpless to able and forces you out of the fool's choice. By mastering your stories, you're no longer hostage to your emotions. You can choose how you feel, which means you can choose how you act. Now that your heart's in the right place, you can see what's happening, you know how to make it safe, and you've mastered your emotions. It's finally time to open your mouth. This brings us to the fifth principle: state my path. How do you share sensitive, risky, or controversial ideas without making the other person defensive? Lead them down your path to action, starting with the least controversial parts first. STATE is an acronym for 5 skills. Share your facts. Start with what you saw and heard. Facts are the least controversial, least insulting, and most persuasive starting point. Don't start with, "You're a micromanager." Start with, "In our last 3 meetings, you've checked in on my progress every 15 minutes. Tell your story. After the facts, explain the conclusion you're beginning to draw. Share your interpretation as a story, not as fact. The story I'm starting to tell myself is that you may not trust me to get this done on my own. Ask for others' paths. Once you've shared your side, genuinely invite them to share theirs. Do you see it differently? I'd really like to hear your perspective. Talk tentatively. State your story as a story, not undeniable truth. Use phrases like, "I'm beginning to wonder if," or "in my opinion." This shows humility and makes it safer for others to disagree. It's not about being wimpy, it's about being accurate. You don't know the whole truth. Encourage testing. Actively invite opposing views. "What am I missing here?" Or, "I'd really like to hear the other side of this story." The true test of your commitment to dialogue is how vigorously you encourage people to challenge your views. But what happens when the other person is the one who's angry or silent? What do you do when they blow up or clam up? This is where the 6th principle comes in. Explore others' paths. Your goal is to make it safe for them to retrace their path to action and get their meaning into the pool. To do this, shift from being furious to being curious. When they attack, ask yourself, why would a reasonable, rational, decent person be saying this? You need to become a good listener. The authors offer another acronym for this: the power listening tools of AMPP. Ask. Start by simply inviting them to talk. "What's going on? I'd like to hear your concerns." Mirror. If they're hesitant, or their words don't match their tone, reflect back their behavior. You say you're fine, but from your tone, you seem upset. This shows you're paying attention and that it's okay for them to have those feelings. Paraphrase. As they share their story, restate it in your own words. "So let me see if I have this right. You're frustrated because you believe I'm not acknowledging the work you've put in." This shows you're listening and trying to understand. Prime. If they're still stuck, you may need to prime the pump. Take your best guess at what they're thinking or feeling. "Are you feeling like I'm questioning your competence on this project?" This can feel risky, but sometimes it's the only way to get the conversation flowing. As you listen and begin to understand their path, you'll need to respond. The authors give us the ABCs. Agree. When you agree with what they've said, say so. Don't turn an agreement into an argument by focusing on a trivial point of disagreement. Build. If they've left something out, agree with what they said and then add your perspective. Absolutely. And in addition to that, I've noticed. Compare. When you do disagree, don't say you're wrong. Instead, compare your 2 paths. "I think I see things a little differently. Let me explain." Then use your state skills to walk them through your path. Finally, after all this work, creating safety, sharing meaning, exploring different paths, you've reached understanding. You've filled the pool. But all that work is worthless if it doesn't lead to action. This is the seventh and final principle: move to action. Dialogue is not decision-making. Just because everyone got to share their meaning doesn't mean everyone gets a vote. To avoid confusion and frustration, you must decide how you're going to decide. There are 4 common methods. Command. Decisions are made without involving others. This is for situations where an outside force dictates the decision, or when you delegate to a trusted expert. Consult. You gather input from others, but the final decision is made by a smaller group or individual. Vote. You use this when you have several good options and efficiency matters. Consensus. You talk until everyone genuinely agrees on a single decision. This is for high-stakes complex issues where everyone's commitment is essential. Clarifying the decision-making method up front prevents hurt feelings and violated expectations. Once a decision is made, translate it into action by clarifying 4 things. Who? Assign each task to a specific person. There is no we. We is code for not me. Does what? Be crystal clear about the deliverables. By when? Deadlines are non-negotiable. Goals without deadlines are just directions. How will you follow up? Agree on a method and time to check in on progress. By putting these simple disciplines in place, you ensure that all the hard work you did to create dialogue actually leads to meaningful results. You turn your crucial conversation into a crucial outcome. When you step back and look at the framework of crucial conversations, you realize something profound. This isn't just a collection of clever communication tips. It's a philosophy for approaching life's most challenging moments with courage, humility, and skill. The most powerful lesson for me is work on me first. In a world that constantly encourages us to blame others, point fingers, and see ourselves as victims of circumstance, this book gently but firmly places the power and responsibility back in our own hands. It teaches us that the first step to changing a conversation, relationship, or organization is changing ourselves. It's the humbling recognition that our own stories, fears, and unskilled behaviors are often the biggest obstacles to getting what we truly want. What makes this book timeless is that it addresses the fundamental human struggle between truth and connection. We're wired to seek both, yet we so often believe they're mutually exclusive. Crucial Conversations gives us a practical, step-by-step method for pursuing both simultaneously. It's a roadmap for speaking your truth in a way that deepens relationships rather than destroys them. So how can you start applying these ideas today? It can feel overwhelming, but the authors suggest that a little progress goes a long way. Here are 3 simple actions you can take this week. First, just learn to look. For the next 7 days, make it your mission to simply notice when a conversation turns crucial. Don't worry about fixing it or using the right skills. Just ask yourself, are we in dialogue, or have we slipped into silence or violence? This simple act of awareness is the first and most powerful lever of change. Second, identify one of your clever stories. Think about a recurring conflict in your life, with a parent, friend, or teacher. What's the story you tell yourself? Are you the innocent victim? Is the other person an unreasonable villain? Are you completely helpless to change the situation? Just seeing that story for what it is, an incomplete interpretation, not a fact, can begin to loosen its grip on you. Third, practice one skill in a low-stakes conversation. The next time you have a small disagreement, try one thing. Maybe you'll start with the facts instead of your conclusions. Maybe you'll try a contrasting statement to prevent a misunderstanding. Or maybe you'll just get genuinely curious and ask, "Help me understand your perspective." Small wins build confidence. That was a summary of Crucial Conversations by Kerry Patterson, Joseph Grenny, Ron McMillan, and Al Switzler. We've walked through the core principles today, but I'll be honest, a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. The real magic happens when you travel there yourself. It's in the quiet moments of reading, when a particular story or simple phrase connects with your own life in ways you didn't expect. This summary is designed to help you decide if this book is worth your time and attention. If anything we've talked about today has sparked hope or curiosity in you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning techniques. It's an experience that can genuinely change how you navigate the moments that matter most. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this journey valuable, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It lets me know this work is making a difference, and it ensures you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's Bookshelf. Let's keep growing together.